more fulfilling when it's like, oh yeah, that thing that's going on now, like, so when it comes back around, it's more exciting, and you're excited, and therefore the audience is excited.
Yeah. Hi, and welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life, and through Kelly, we hope to inspire. I have Josh Warren on the show today. He is an improviser. He is an improv coach, and you are an actor. Do you do sketch comedy also?
Yeah, I try to do as much as possible, really.
Yeah, just whatever, whenever, however.
I mean, my like acting technique is probably just being different facets of myself.
Yeah.
Anytime I've been cast in anything, they're like, "We hired you because you're the improv guy. Just go."
That's what I just told you about the show. I was like, I'm not worried about it. You do improv, we'll be fine.
Yeah, everything's okay.
And that's the way it is too. What got you into, I always like stories about what attracted you to improv. It's normally not something that you sought after. It's normally like you ended up at a show and it got you, or how you and I are probably around the same age, I think. So improv, I don't know, improv kind of fell on me. Did it fall on you?
Well, kind of, but at the same point, I guess I'm outside of the box of like, I did end up seeking it out. Because when I was in high school, I used to watch the Upright Citizens Brigade sketch comedy show.
Okay.
Which back then I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
I don't get any of it.
Yeah.
And then like now because I studied there in 2001 through.
Which is New
York.
Yeah.
And so like now after like knowing how improv works, I'm like, that show was ahead of its time. It was brilliant. But I did extra work for the 9/11 episode of Saturday Night Live.
Nice.
And the casting director was like a really nice dude, and like in downtime was like giving me career advice at like 21 years old.
Nice.
And was like, you want to do this, you want to be in this business, you'll go take classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade. And I was like, I've heard of them, they had a crazy show. And he was like, yeah. And so
you followed the advice.
I followed the advice and went and took classes there.
Now, what was it like? What was the training like?
I like to describe it as like the Marines of improv.
Okay.
Especially when I took classes there, it was very like, you do that character again and we'll black you out on stage. We don't black people out. That character asks too many questions, does transaction scenes. And like at that point in time, as like a kid, I was like, whoa, that person's just a jerk. And then like looking back on it, I was like, that was
because
really
they're teaching you to follow the rules of improv.
Yeah, but like they're also big advocates of learning the rules to break the rules.
Yes.
So like, as long as you know what you're doing and you can continue to progress the scene forward, well then you can start breaking all the rules in the book.
Right. Yeah. So talk about. So what is something that almost every time you see it, it will, if somebody doesn't do something, it makes it blocks the scene.
I'd say agreement, like agreeing with the premise. A lot of people get hung up with the word no, and they think that you can't say no on stage,
right,
which is a misconception.
Right.
You can say no. Your character can say no to every single thing.
You just can't deny.
Yeah, as long as you're accepting the premise and what's going on.
Right.
And then if you deny the premise, then like the whole audience is like, well, I'm glad I invested in it.
Yeah, and then your castmates hate you and all that lovely fun stuff. Yeah. So
no judgment.
No, no judgment, but a lot of judgment.
Exactly.
No, improvers are hardcore. Like, you guys are hardcore. What's your favorite thing about improv?
That's a great question. Probably just being able to create what you want on the fly. I'm more like I've got a vast background in both long form and short form, but I prefer long form because like there's less constraints and again less rules. And a lot of times like I kind of feel like a marionette doll when I'm doing short form. And I feel like you're more like Pinocchio in long form, like the strings have been cut.
But long form, you have to really pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're both the same thing, and you have to pay attention in both. I guess because
But I can pay attention in a shorter amount of time than if you're doing a Herald. That's a lot.
you're talking about like the connections and
right.
the patterns, but like the mind naturally works in patterns anyway.
Right.
So like, which is why UCB, their whole motto is "Don't think," because like you're gonna force something at that point, and then like to me, it's much more fulfilling when it's like, oh yeah, that thing that's going on now, like so when it comes back around. It's more exciting, and you're excited, and therefore the audience is excited, and then everybody's excited.
Yeah, and you're
people
looking
are
at
like, that was brilliant. Wow, that was so brilliant. And it's like I didn't do anything, but thanks, sure. All right, I'm gonna go feel bad about myself backstage now.
So you're just now stepping out on your own, and you have your own company. What's it called?
Action Show Studios.
Okay, and you do your kind of thing that you're experimenting with, or you're doing is improv on a green screen.
So we've put a class program together at a place called Encyclomedia, where we rent our studio space from. We've got this like magnificent psych wall. And so yeah, basically the people that are taking my like beta class that's going on right now are seasoned improvisers that have already gone through like all the levels at all the theaters, and they're now we're basically just taking their improvisational scenes and working those and filming them so that they can go back and like review the game tape, so to speak. And then we keep like smoothing it down until we're going to shoot like actual sketches, like produce sketches for each one of these students in different tandems. And then at the end of it, we're gonna throw like a premiere party at Relapse and show all of them.
Yeah, love all those guys. Well, I have for you. Well, I have two. I'm gonna let you choose. Do you want chocolate or you want an array of stuff?
Are those?
These are dark chocolate with almonds in them. He said, ooh.
I might go with the array.
Okay.
It wasn't like a bad ooh. It was like a ooh.
Okay. Then you can just choose what you like. But yeah, you can take that home with you. That's just to remind you that you're a gift, and I believe any improver to me is a gift, because one of my favorite things in life to do is just banter and just I call it throwing ball with somebody else. And so anybody that I come around that does improv for a living, I just love sitting down talking to you guys. Well, I do it on a level, but not on your level. So
I appreciate that about you, because I've watched a lot of your interviews. So
well, thank you.
I think you're good at throwing ball.
Oh, thanks. I'm getting better at it once I get more comfortable with the show. But how do people?
I think you look great on your show. So
thank you.
You don't need to worry about getting comfortable with it.
Thank you. Now I can go through my day. How do people get in touch with you?
They can go to Action Show Studios at Gmail. You can find me on Facebook. We've got like an array of social media. Like it's either Action Show 1 or Action Show Studios.
Okay.
And so the studio, we started out with me and my buddy Sil Turner do a 2-man show called Action Show.
Okay.
Which it's like very tropey driven. We hit all the like action movie tropes, from like death scenes to like romance to, you know, right before people get deployed. And do like really melodramatic stuff. And then we've got really impressive technical improvisers that come in and like do the lights and sounds and like soundtrack.
So you
the whole
open it up
show.
to an audience? This is done in front of an audience, or
It's so our 2-man show is done in front of an audience. We like to say that we're a 4D experience.
okay?
Because like we come through the audience, we go out into the audience and do scenes in there.
Nice. We're gonna have to come experience this.
Well, you get an opportunity. 9/21 and
Okay.
9/22, we're putting on Action Fest beta test at Relapse,
Okay.
which is a 2-day sketch, improv, and stand-up festival.
Okay.
That it's all local acts, so we're
Nice.
trying to establish an independent platform for local artists.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna check my schedule and see if I have that free. I would love to go. Advice to give to an improver.
I don't want to. So you can't care too much.
Yes.
I'd use other terms, but I don't think they're network friendly. But you just have to be willing to put yourself out there.
You got to be willing to look stupid.
Yeah, you have to be willing to look stupid. You have to be willing to look ugly. Like you have to be willing to not be cool.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most beautiful improvisers and comedians that I've ever seen, Gilda Radner, does it the best, where like she didn't care if she looked ugly. She didn't care if she looked stupid or silly. Like she broke a rib in the sketch where she was a brownie.
Uh-huh.
And kept like jumping on the wall. So in the dress rehearsal, she kept slamming herself on the wall, broke a rib, and then went and
Wow.
did the sketch that night with a broken rib.
That's called true commitment.
Yeah.
That's called we can do it.
So like you just can't care too much. You have to be willing to be vulnerable.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here with us and letting us meet you. And guys, go see the show on the 22nd?
21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd
It's an
of
all-day affair,
September. And we hope this segment educated and inspired you.